Hey everybody, Martin Chuck here, and welcome to the Raven Golf Club in Phoenix, Arizona. This session is going to be all about shot shaping and why it's important for you to understand this. Sometimes you'll need to curve the ball a little bit. I'm going to walk you through a session here, a variety of videos to help you understand it and be able to do it when you need to. Trying to hit the dreaded straight ball. So that wasn't exactly straight, but it wasn't too bad. We had 90 miles an hour club head speed. Let's take a look at the info here. Ball speed 127, the shot carried 182, 181.7. I was trying to hit a straight shot. The hardest shot in golf is a straight one. But if you can understand your curve bias, what your golf ball is going to tend to do, the 80-20 rule is what I always say, if you can understand that, you can play your best golf. Let's go through some of these conditions to help you understand path and how the face relates to that path so you can get some curves. Trying to hit a straight shot, I didn't get one. I missed my target fractionally to the left, tried to zero out my face, tried to zero out my path, almost impossible. For me, I'm more of a natural draw hitter of the golf ball, so I'm going to walk you through how you go ahead and you can understand hitting some draws. When you take a look down the line, we've got the target set up at the pink noodle right there, and we've got another green noodle and a yellow noodle. I'm going to illustrate this with a hula hoop. You know, in a golf swing travels, the club goes back up and in, instantly and simultaneously on a circle, and down, out, and forward. And with a golf ball played on the ground, ideally we're touching the golf ball before we brush the ground. That's a down and out motion geometrically, since golf's a side-on game. As I'm a right-handed golfer and I set into the shot, you can see this pink portion of the hula hoop I'm going to put a little bit ahead of the golf ball. So the delivery, if I set up square to my target line and I don't mess things up like a lot of students unfortunately do, this club's going to be tracking down and out, and it's going to deliver a little bit of rightward club path to the ball. If I have rightward club path, let's assume I can get the club path out 3 or 4 degrees. I'll illustrate that with this orange aim stick, and I'll point that path out to that green noodle out there. If I have a club face that I can deliver somewhere between there and a decent contact, a decent centered hit, I can expect that golf ball to have some draw bias, a nice shot shape that is something that I'm expecting to hit, and then therefore I can aim it on the golf course and trust it and play it. So for a right-handed golfer, assuming we don't mess things up, which is we do in golf, that's the nature of golf, let's be honest. Let me go hit a little shot here. I've got a 5-iron. Strike one with my general swing and shot shape. So that was quite nice. I started the golf ball exactly where I wanted to. Let's see what the numbers were right there. So the path was 3.5 degrees inside out. Absolutely perfect. Unfortunately, the face and path were about the same. My face was a half a degree, 0.4 degrees open to my path, so I got a little bit of a push there. Now the face, here is my error. Hit a nice shot, maybe it's on the green, maybe it's on the fringe, maybe it's in a bunker. My club face basically matched up with my path. In fact, it was just a sliver on the outside of my club's path. Let's hit one more, and let's see if I can get that perfect draw. The carry was 180, it was a centered strike. Let's hit one more shot. See if we can have that perfect draw, a little bit of a baby draw. So as a right-handed golfer, I've got the golf ball left center in my stance. The club is working down and out to the golf ball and then brushing the grass. So there's a nice little draw. It started sort of down my target line a bit more than I'd like and drew a little bit to my left. So those numbers, that club path was 2.6 degrees inside out. The face to path was closed 2.8. So that's the ball that's going to curve a little bit right to left. So for the right-handed golfer, you've almost got a draw built in unless you kind of blow it, unless you do some things with arms and club face and wrist conditions that take you out of the geometry of a side-on game that really wants to give you a draw. So let's talk about some of those things in the next segment. Okay everybody, so now you understand the basics of hitting a draw. Let me show you another draw killer that a lot of people don't really pay attention to. If you aren't managing your arms you're not managing your wrists. And if you're not managing your wrists, you're not managing the club face. So what I mean by that is, a lot of golfers, even really good players, will take their arms back and they will separate their elbows too much. Well, when you separate your elbows, look what's happening to my wrist conditions. As my elbows separate, my wrist conditions change quite a bit. And again, that leads to complexity. And we want to take and simplify things as much as possible. So when a backswing occurs, if we overflex the arms, separate the elbows, the wrist conditions change, and whatever we wind up, we have to unwind. So in the blink of a downswing, it's 0.2 to 0.3 seconds from the top of a swing to impact. We want to make sure we have some structured arms. So you've seen these before. I've got the Tour Striker Smart Ball here. It's one of the products I came out with years ago. And there's other things in the market that work just as effectively as this. But if we can put something between our arms and we can transport the golf club with that relationship. Now, if I have that simple feel right there, then my wrist conditions are pretty much neutralized. So as a golfer, this external feeling helps you manage your wrist conditions. We know to hit a draw, we need a club path that's traveling inside out, down to the low point, which is fractionally ahead of the golf ball. We know we need a face a little bit close to that club's path. So if we can take out one of the factors that can mess things up by letting arms separate too much, if I can just focus on maintaining the gentle control of this smart ball between my arms, I'll hit a little shot here. So there's a nice little strike that had a subtle closed face to path. So the club head speed, just chipping an 8-iron out there, 83 miles an hour. The carry 145. The club's path was 2.9 degrees inside out, and the face was closed 2.3 degrees. So to the path. So that's a draw bias. And all we want to do is simplify your motions. So if we eliminate excessive elbow bending, separating the elbows, we're also guaranteed to keep our wrists a little bit more reliable, and you're going to take that reliability of the club face and put it on the golf ball and shape better shots. Hey everybody, Martin Chuck here at the Raven Golf Club in Phoenix, Arizona. And in this shot shaping mini series here, one of the things I want to talk to you about is the face to path. And in the face to path, you really have to understand your wrist conditions. So to illustrate my point, I have this external device, the Tour Striker Educator. It's a wrist educator that helps you understand the difference between address and impact, and more importantly, that critical moment just before impact when the club's traveling almost at max speed, working its way down into the golf ball. Let me get my pointer to explain. So if I take this magnetized pointer, put it on the club face. All of your good players coming into impact typically have that face pointed down slightly. That pointer is tipped down just a little bit, and then from there their body unwinds, their lead arm pronates, and they can get that club face on the golf ball with a nice strong strike. The folks that really struggle, conversely, at this critical juncture before impact, they've got that face pointed upward, and they've got to buy time by backing out of the shot, doing a variety of things to get that club face on the ball, and they cannot draw the ball from there. So to have great draw shots, you really have to understand your wrist conditions. So an excellent drill for folks to do, whether they have a device like this or not, to understand the wrist conditions is to simply get a golf club, and I like to use a 9-iron and 8-iron, put the ball in a little tee, because you want to do this at learning speed. You want to have that sensation of getting in this delivery position with the face tilted downward slightly. Get the hands just opposite your trail leg, and then from there a subtle pump, and then go ahead and deliver the golf ball into impact. So we'll go ahead and hit a little shot, get set, a little bit of a pump, and hit a shot, and start to see if you get that shape we're looking for. So that was a path where it was 2.7 inside out, and the face was 3.5 degrees close to the path. That's a situation where the ball started straight and drew. And now that's a condition because the face was prepared and the body helped deliver it. A lot of folks will say to me, hey Martin, I didn't get through that shot. And I'll say, no, you weren't prepared leading up to that shot. They had the face too wide open. They require way too much manipulation of the hands. So understand your wrist conditions. Address wrist conditions. As we develop into a backswing, we get into these impact wrist conditions leading being led through impact by pivot. If you can do that, you are going to hit some really great shots. So we know that everybody thinks the draw is really sexy. Delivering the golf club down and out to the back of the golf ball, continuing on to that low point. The geometry of a circle is your friend. Golf's a side-on game. So we stand to the side of the golf ball back here, and we have the golf ball in the right place. This club is working down and out, we hope, to the back of the ball, eventually to the low point. That motion has draw built in all day, every day. Again, like I say, unless we mess it up. How do we mess it up? Club faced, wrist conditions, elbows separating too much, even poor ball location. If we get the golf ball too far forward, it's too hard to get the path in the correct place. So, summarizing a great draw, we need the club face to be fractionally closed to the path. Let's pay attention to these things. You can see what I've got here. I've got a little T-square down. Really helps me with my golf ball location. Build your good hands. Get settled on here over a golf ball, knowing that delivering this golf club, the club head needs to be coming from a place that is not outside the hands. It needs to be coming from a place where the wrist conditions are fairly strong. The body's in a pivot. That face is close to the path, and our arms aren't separating too much, and you're going to have a lot of success hitting shots that have a nice little curve right to left.